Sup guys, back again. This is going to be my look after doing my review of the Astra Militarum Codex. I've written up the list I'm working on. I think I mentioned it in one of my, or a couple of my videos, that I'm working on my Armoured list this time. I managed to sell off all my old Cadian infantry, so I'm now working on Death Corps Krieg Mechanised. And this is the list I'm generally going to be running. It's an 1850 list, a bit similar to my Chaos, so I can bump. I've got points to play around if I want to bump it up to 2000, and there's units I can drop to pull it back down to 1500 if I need to. So without further ado, my HQ choice and the warlord of my army will be Commander Pask in a Punisher with 3 heavy bolters, with camo netting, and relic plating for Deny the Witch. It's one of those things where I was looking for all the with it being an armoured list, I wanted to have tank commanders as my HQs. And the thing I felt with Pask was there's certain tanks would benefit from him more. People have been saying Vanquishers, but I think it doesn't bring weight of fire to benefit from his rules. I was looking at the Exterminator, which is the auto cannons, again heavy 4 strength 7 rending, and then I came across the Punisher, and I think I mentioned it in my HQ and my heavy sport videos. I think the Punisher now, with its points drop and with Pask, is really scary. If it gets into range, and it's only got a 24 inch range, so I do have to either let them come to me or lose a turn of shooting, or move forward turn 1 and then start backing up. It's firing 29 shots a turn with, it's got a +1 to its cover save. It's one of those things where ballistic skill 4, he's got preferred enemy, so he's re-rolling all the 1s out of the 1s and 2s. He's strength 5, so generally he's wounded on 3s again, as he does to hit. And again, he's re-rolling 1s for his preferred enemy. With rending, it starts to get scary. And 29 shots out of 1 tank, I think, is going to start either making units duck and suppress and keeping them back and not wanting them to try to run forward at him, or if it's starting to hit stuff, it's going to start clearing objectives, clearing guys trying to get into assault range. I'm really looking forward to playing it. As he's a tank commander, he has to have a unit, at least 1 tank and up to 2 with him, so he makes a squadron. So with Pask, I've got an executioner with plasma cannon sponsons and a heavy bolter at the front, again with camo netting. The executioner benefits from preferred enemy. With the only reason I put the executioner with Pask was because he benefits from his preferred enemy. It means I can re-roll the overheat rolls for its weapons, and it's allowing me, I think preferred enemy allows you to re-roll blasts, I think, because 5 plasma blasts hitting something, that's Terminators aren't going to like it, heavy infantry aren't going to like it, hordes to a sense aren't going to like it. So that's my first HQ, that's Pask and his executioner bodyguard. The next option is, find the unit there. The second unit is again another tank commander. He's in a Vanquisher with las cannons, multi-melters, and camo netting. My idea for that was he's going to benefit from the Vanquisher doesn't benefit from Pask, but basic tank commander is really worth it for the BS4. That's 4 shots a turn, minimum range 24 for the multi-melters, but 72 inches I think minimum for the las cannon and the Vanquisher cannon. So that's dedicated anti-tank with the BS4. I think it's just a good. It was with the idea for an armoured list. I thought that was a good choice. Again, he has to take about at least 1 tank as a squadron. So I've bought him a Punisher with 3 heavy bolters and camo netting. You might see a theme throughout all my vehicles. All of them have got camo netting, because one of my options is a basic Aegis, which all my tanks will hide behind and be getting a 3-up cover save. Well, it depends how people decide it. It'll be a minimum of a 5-up. Well, a 4-up, sorry, with a 5-up cover save for obscured and camo netting. But because how Aegis reads, it automatically gives a 4-up cover save to whatever unit's behind it. That's a 3-up cover for all my tanks, I think. And with the design of the Lehman Russes, the new ones anyway, with the lower down turret, with the turrets being quite squat, I think you'd be able to get at least over 25% hidden for the 4-up. So that's my second choice. The Punisher again. I'm really liking Punishers. The reason I brought them is I've got 2 in my list, which are the basic ones with just the heavy bolters. They're there for weight of fire. On its own, it isn't scary, but when it's supporting another tank, this one's going to be protecting my Vanquisher, and the one I brought as my heavy support is just to be throwing out a lot of shots a turn. So that's my second HQ choices. So far I've got 4 Lehman Russes in, and that's the first squadron was 448 points, and the second one was 385. So that was my 2 HQs. My next choice is the Premier Psychers, which are an almost auto include now for guard. I'm only running 2, and they're the basic, no upgrades for them, no level 2, so they're 100 points. They are there for prescience. I'll roll to see if I get anything over which I really want, but I don't think I will, so I'll stick with the generally I'll stick with prescience. So they'll be guiding the tank commander and the Vanquisher squadron, so he gets re-rolls, and the other one will probably be presciencing the single Punisher on its own again, so that's got re-rolls, so making its fire more efficient. So that's my HQs. Onto my troop choices. I've got 3 identical squads of veterans, which is 10 veterans, each with 2 melter guns and forward sentries. So again, if they're in a cover behind my Aegis, they're getting a 4-up cover save. The melter guns are to be fighting at other armour. They're there, one, to fill up my minimum troop choice, and also they each come with a Chimera, which has camo netting, multi-laser heavy bolter, and they are there to grab objectives. Again, the Chimeras are generally going to be used for blocking line of fire, protecting the main tanks, getting the veterans to where they need to be. So those 3 squads are support more than the backbone of my force. So they are 170 points for each squad, and that's with its transport, which I think is brilliant. And they will also be one of the squads definitely will be harbouring the 2 Psychers, and I may split the Psychers up so they aren't clustered. So that's 2 of them, which will generally be staying around Lehman Russes and hiding in my Aegis. That's my 3 troop choices. My next choice is as I said before, the last Lehman Russ. So I'm now bringing 3 Chimeras and 5 Lehman Russes. And this one is the single Punisher on its own with the heavy bolters and the camo netting. And as you can see, everything's going to be getting covered, bonuses to cover. Generally, the boards I play on are pretty dense, and with my Aegis, I'm guaranteeing high cover saves. And as most of my opponents play Space Marines of some form, I'm not worried about ignore cover horrendously. So I'll see how that goes on. My last option is a Vendetta gunship, bare bones, no upgrades. That is there solely for the anti-flyer. I was thinking maybe drop it and take the quad gun, but I don't think it needs it. I think a Vendetta will cover me for what flyers I come across. And then if there isn't any flyers, he's there just to start taking out tanks, supporting the Vendetta at whatever armour it's shooting at. It's very specialised for what it'll do, but for 170 points I don't think it was bad. So, the rundown again. That's my guard list. I'm bringing 5 Armoured 14 russes, 3 Chimeras full of veterans, and the Vendetta. For 1850, I think that's really. I'm hoping that'll be quite competitive. And I'm going to be testing it out ASAP. I've got the mock-up for my colour scheme done. This is the Chimera for the first squad, which not very good. I've had a go at modelling camo netting, and I've been following some of the tutorials by Temple Crusade 01 for weathering tanks, so it's nice and muddy. So that's the way I'm going to be doing my camo netting on all my models. So I'm hoping I get some feedback on this, see if there's anything people definitely think I should be changing. I think generally it's a pretty strong list. It comes in at 1800, 448 points, so I've got 2 points spare if anyone can think what I can do with it. Generally, I'm going to test it out as I do with all my lists as games progress. If I notice there's a shortfall for something, I'll change stuff about. But I'm hoping this will be a pretty strong list on its own. The option I'm thinking about for bumping up to 2000 is maybe drop camo netting on the Chimeras, and that'll take me back down to 1800 points, and then bring 3 Wyverns because I've got space, because I've still got 2 heavy support choices I can bring. I think that'll be quite vicious. I'm hoping. So I'll see how that does. That's the option for taking up to 2k. And then I've got a list written up for 500 points of infantry, which is another command squad. This is 2.5k. So I've got a command squad and an infantry platoon, which is going to have 3 squads with autocannons as a combined squad, and then 50 conscripts, and then 2 commissars for going in the blobs. And there is just grabbing home base objectives and holding the line. That's starting to stray away from our whole armoured list, but it's an idea. But as is, it's pretty elite. For guard, it hasn't got many bodies, but I'm hoping the 5 Lehman Russes will be able to carry me, hopefully. So comment, rate and subscribe, all that business, and I'll see you in the next one.